Is it possible to fly a drone so low that it's outside FAA jurisdiction? This question came up after someone asked whether flying just a few feet above the water for a short film would somehow avoid FAA rules. And it's a really common assumption that if you fly low enough, you're not really in the air. But in the United States, that's not exactly how it works. Let me explain. Hey everyone, this is Adam from UAV Coach, a leading drone education company. When it comes to a drone leaving the ground, the FAA has jurisdiction over that flight. Even if you're 1 inch above land or 1 inch above water, you're flying in FAA-regulated airspace. A lot of people confuse controlled airspace with FAA jurisdiction, but those are two different things. Even in uncontrolled airspace, the FAA still regulates how aircraft operate. So if it's outdoors and airborne, FAA rules apply. Now, the biggest follow-up question we get to this response is, how would the FAA even know I'm flying that low? And that honest answer is most enforcement is complaint-driven. The FAA isn't constantly monitoring neighborhoods for low-altitude drone flights. However, investigations do happen after complaints, incidents, posted footage, insurance claims, or safety concerns. The idea that they'll never know isn't something you should completely rely on. Another creative question was, what if I attach wheels, a rod, or a float to the drone so it's technically touching the ground or water? Well, technically, if the drone is using aerodynamic forces for lift, it's still considered an aircraft. But at that point, I would recommend just getting a selfie stick and placing a camera on top. An additional gray area is in regard to private property. What if you fly your drone 5 feet up in your backyard? Well, there was a case for this called US v. Cosby, which recognized that property owners control the immediate reaches of airspace above their land for practical use, like building structures or growing trees. Now, that doesn't mean you can ignore FAA rules in your backyard. You can control who takes off or lands on your property, but once a drone is airborne outdoors, it's still operating in the National Airspace System and falls under FAA authority. And trust me, I know a lot of this sounds very nitpicky. It's all technically for safety and accidents that have happened or almost happened. You can also take your own risk with flying, but it's important to understand the rules and consequences like with anything else. The final key piece here is intent. If the flight is for a short film, YouTube content, or anything that benefits someone else, that's commercial use. And commercial use requires a Part 107 certificate, regardless of altitude. Flying low doesn't change that requirement. So the bottom line is this. If your drone is outdoors and airborne in the United States, you're required to follow FAA drone rules, aka there isn't a low altitude loophole. Understanding this stuff up front helps you fly legally and confidently and keeps you out of trouble. Let us know your thoughts on all of this, and if you found this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Until next time, blue skies and safe flying.